Systematic. What does it mean? Simply means you go from outermost to outer, to a little bit inward, to more inward, and finally to the centermost inward, whether you give it a name or not. If you call it a soul, if you call it God, if you call it divine, if you call it Atman or Brahman or capital S self, doesn't matter what you call it, but the process is systematic. Starts with the body. Then there's the breath. Then there's the conscious mind, the levels of unconscious mind, and finally something beyond that. That's what it means to say that it's systematic. When we learn to meditate, and we practice for some time, whether that's weeks or months or years, it's very common to be at a plateau at some point along the way where we wonder or we ask somebody, what's wrong with my meditation? Why is it I read the books? Why does I hear stories about the great advances that people make in meditation and it's not happening to me? What's wrong with me? More often than not, we have skipped something. Something about the systematic aspect of meditation has been skipped. It may be that diet is so terribly bad. Not being an absolute purist, but way too much sugar, way too much fat, way too much stimulants, and we don't see it. It may be simply that we're not getting enough exercise. We ought to get off the couch and walk. We ought to do something to get exercise, and we're not doing. Something got skipped. Something's not right in relationships, within family and with friends, or the world, or employees, or employers, peers, friends. Something got skipped. One time I was walking with Swami Rama by the Ganges in India. And he gave me a little lesson. But it was actually several lessons wrapped into one. And it touched on this systematic business. Though he didn't say that. We were not conversing at the time. There was no subject being chewed on or dialogued about. We were just walking silently. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he threw this question to me, or an instruction actually. The instruction was, ask your mind, what's wrong with your meditation? To which I said, And to which he said, ask your mind, what's wrong with your meditation? Same sentence. To which I said, First one was, what'd you say? Second one is I'd heard it. He repeated it. He didn't say, well, what I meant to say was, no. What I was asking was that I missed it. Would you please say precisely the same words again? And that's what he did. I didn't have to say it. I just said, He repeated. Ask your mind what's wrong with your meditation. It went into my head. I heard the words, so I went, But I didn't have any idea what he had told me to do. It was a direct instruction, but I didn't hear it. But I memorized it. As we were walking, I kept repeating in my head so that I wouldn't forget it. And the walk was finished. I went back to my room and I pulled out my little notebook where I put notes. That's what goes in a notebook, is notes. And I wrote down this sentence, ask your mind what's wrong with your meditation. It was a note to me from me of what he had said. And it took me probably 2 or 3 weeks before I look at that note, I finally thought I need to find out need to give it a try. So I sat there in a closed room with the door locked, nobody else in the room, wanting to make sure that nobody caught me, sitting there with my eyes closed, talking to myself inside my head, because they'll think I'm crazy. I could do that in front of a crowd of people. Nobody's going to hear me thinking, I don't think. But that's what I did. Door closed, locked, sitting there like this. And I said, okay. The instruction was ask your mind. Okay, mind, what's wrong with my meditation? And I don't remember the long list of what came, but I remember the first one was, you're lazy. And then a string of other things behind it. The heart of the problem was, I wasn't doing systematic practice. That was the heart of it. Well, just that I was lazy, there was other things behind it, and you're not doing this, and you're not doing this right, and you're not, So inside we already have great wisdom, and often we're not listening to it.